Hello, everyone. I'm Joanne Ameya, and welcome to another episode of Women Rising TV. Today, I'm here with my mom. I've invited her to be on our show because there's so many women who are talking about their relationship with their mothers and wanting them to be better and different. So my mom is in town visiting, and I thought it would be great to have her. So welcome.
Thanks, Joe. I am really delighted to be here, and I feel like this is a gift to be sitting here on a sofa being recorded by you.
A lot of the women that I work with are healing from past pains, past hurts, past wounds that they experienced with their mother or father, but today we're just focusing on mother. And my mom and I, we've gone through many years of challenges and tribulations, and we've gotten to a place that's really sweet and really beautiful. And I'm not saying that there aren't times where we get annoyed with each other, but for the most part, we're not experiencing each other through reactions or hurts. So I thought maybe we could talk about me growing up and my experience with you, from child to teenager to more adult, because there's always the opportunity to heal. There's so much pain that we experience, and some is more traumatic than others, but there's always the opportunity to repair. I remember years ago when I was a birth doula, somebody saying to me, everything is repairable, whether you're talking about physical or emotional health, everything can be resolved. So if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling like you're never going to be able to connect with your mom, you're never going to be able to have the relationship with her that you want, you can if you start from here first. And hopefully at some point that'll come together and you'll create something bigger and better. So what was your experience of our relationship when I was little?
I think my experience was very different between you and your sister. And you came into this world and you were a very typical baby, infant. And as you developed into a toddler and into those terrible twos, you definitely were a terrible two. But you were only terrible to me. You were not terrible to anyone else. So I'm not sure what that says, but I think there was a struggle for your independence already at that age. And as I can remember going to your nursery school for the report, and they would say, oh, Joanne is so lovely and so divine and bright and interested and polite. And, and I would say, what? Is this my child? Because at home you were very defiant. And I really didn't know how to handle that defiance. The segment of time out did not appear then, but you sat many a time on the step.
The bottom of the steps.
At the bottom of the steps, yeah. Well. Because I truly just didn't know how to handle it. If I look at my grandchildren now and I see them acting up, it's like, I know, it's just a phase. And I think that I learned to pick my battles, but it took me a while to pick my battles with you because you were very headstrong, and there was a quality about you in our relationship that I could not figure out. And I read a lot of books, and I spent a lot of time learning how to acknowledge your feelings, which sometimes I really just didn't want to acknowledge because it was just like, why are you like this? But every year as you matured, you encompassed more of this more pleasant attitude to me. And then when you became a teenager...
Let me just stop you for a second, because this is important, because a lot of the work that I do with women and in my own journey, there's the child's perspective and then there's the adult's perspective. So this is my mom's perspective as the adult. She's has a little kid, she's terrible twos, defiant, doesn't know how to deal with this child. And then there's my experience of being that child and realizing later in life the ways that I felt like I wasn't seen, or I was suppressed at times, or all these ways in which I wasn't allowed to just be like that, because for my mom it was challenging. But when you're the child, you don't see things from a rational perspective. You don't see like, oh, the mother's trying to do all this. It doesn't matter. So I felt in a lot of ways really squashed. So that's an interesting experience, because listening to my mom now, it's like, oh, I can understand that and I can laugh about it. But as the child, it's a very different perspective. So then when I got into my teenage years.
When you got into your teenage years, you were still very, you acted like you knew everything. You knew everything. You could do anything you wanted, and it really didn't matter what I said. But I knew that deep down you heard me. But I think there was a lot of peer pressure and a lot of your own independence coming out. And so I don't remember as many clashes, quite frankly, as you do. I remember one big one when you couldn't sleep out one night.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I remember that. But I don't think we'll each forget that one. But I think that I was maybe, you thought that I was more strict than a lot of the other parents. And I don't know that I was more strict. I think everybody has their own experience with that.
And also, when I was 9, my parents got divorced, and I had a lot of anger towards my mom. So my teenage years, I felt like I was just constantly navigating through just fitting in, just with friends and peers and all of that. And then coming home and feeling angry at my mom because my dad had moved out and there was this whole new world that we were trying to navigate. And also because she worked a lot. So even though it was nice that she wasn't around a lot, it also felt like she wasn't really available. So I had a lot of anger. So maybe if you didn't experience that.
Remember, what I didn't experience as much anger outwardly, but what I did experience was you ignoring me.
Mm.
And I think that was so painful as a parent, to be totally dissed, really. We couldn't have a connection. We couldn't have fun together. And I know in teenage years it's not so easy to have fun with your mom,
Mm-hmm.
unless you go out shopping and you get everything you want, which was certainly not the case. But I think that you went within yourself, and with your friends you were one delightful, loving, happy, laughing person, and when you came to me, it was full of resentment.
Yeah, I was very shut down to my mom. So, it was really when I left for college and after college when I found flower essences and one of my mentors that I really started to heal a lot of these issues that we're talking about. I mean, this anger that had built up and this resentment and kind of isolating myself and pushing my mom out of my life because there were reasons in my mind of feeling suppressed or not seen or not having her accessible and available and the divorce. And there were all these reasons why I did that, but I didn't have the tools to communicate that, and I didn't have the tools to really process and heal them until I found flower essences. And then over that period of time, once I started taking flower essences, our relationship started to change, and it was difficult at first for me to really open up to her and to share things with her and to navigate, back to something that I wanted. And we were actually living together at that time. So, if you know how it is when you're around the people who you're having all this pain about, it was challenging, but I was so committed to having a better relationship with her and also just feeling good in myself.
Well, I think it takes a lot of strength and courage and the flower essences to learn to be honest about what you're seeing. And I think that as you mature, as I've matured and as you have matured, we become more understanding of what the world is all about and what is in our relationships. And although we may not agree, I think that what has grown the most is our respect for each other and for accepting each other and what we do. I think that's really key. And I think that comes at a time when you may not even realize it's happening. And then you get it.
Yeah. I mean, I also think for so long I put so much blame onto my mom for all these things that had happened. And eventually when you're, healing yourself or creating emotional freedom, you realize that you, consciously or subconsciously, took on those beliefs about yourself or the world. So this also brings up the whole topic of forgiveness, because there's a lot of forgiving that we need to do in ourselves and in another. And forgiveness doesn't mean that we say that it's okay that whatever violations or betrayals or traumas that happened were okay. It just means that you're ready to move on and forward with your life. So now when my mom comes to visit, I have a really deep appreciation for her and love for her, and can really see the ways that she's inspired me and made me who I am. But I will tell you that it has taken a lot of work to get to this place. So this conversation is important because there's so many women who are feeling like it's never going to happen, and it will if you're committed to yourself. So we would love to hear your comments below. Has this been helpful? Is it interesting to see a mother and daughter and where we started and where we are now? Or any questions that you have for either one of us, or anything that you want to share about your relationship with your mom and what you really want to experience with her? We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome, honey. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.